Jason, could you fill in the blank here? Coaching Davante Adams is blank, and explain whatever word you choose.
Enjoyable. And I'd say that because, when I got hired on 3 years ago as assistant receivers, I got in the room and, I guess from an outsider looking in, when you would think, oh, this Davante Adams guy, you're going to meet him, that he might have this big ego or this big personality. And every day he's come in the building, it's all just to work and get better. And he's the same guy every day. He smiles, he has fun, he laughs, but he's ultra competitive. And that's what makes him great. It's not just the talent, it's just who he is on a daily basis to compete to be the best version of himself. And very few guys have ever been around at this level compete the way that he does and pushes himself. And it's just so fun and enjoyable for me because it's everything you want, in a player and as a person, So he's special, man.
We see the competitiveness on Sundays. Any examples of that competitiveness showing, whether it be on the practice field, the meeting room, anything like that?
Yeah, I think you guys can see if you've ever been at training camp one-on-ones, man, on that display, right? Everything he does is like an artist, creating a perfect picture out there. And that's really the way he looks at it. And he always says to me, I don't just run a route to run it. I run a route for it to be a clinic tape that you'll use 10 years from now. And that's just the way he goes about it. And when it's not good enough, I barely ever have to say anything. Whenever I give him the look, he's jogging back. He already knows that he could have done better or maybe released better. His standards he holds of himself are probably higher than I actually even do. I'll be like, oh, that wasn't bad. I'm like, nope, it wasn't good enough. So for him, man, it's like that. But, the one thing that you guys don't get to see is, he has the captain on his, jersey this year, which is obviously, important to him. But he's always been that way since I've known him for 3 years, of the standard of the room and the standard of winning. He wants to win in everything he does, not just himself but our team. So he's a leader. He's a great player, and like I said, he's even a better guy, man. He's a dad and a husband, and just around the community and things that he does for people. He's just an exceptional person.
Jason, I haven't been around here for 25 years. There's been plenty of receivers that have come through here that are egotistical, selfish. Davante obviously isn't that, but how are the other guys? I mean, I've never once heard those guys complain about Davante's getting too many balls, and where does that come from, that mindset?
Yeah, I think they know that, with Tay, he just wants to win. So there's times in a game, you guys might not have seen, maybe at halftime, if he didn't get a ball, he's looking at me like, he might not say it, but he has that look like, you kidding me? Like, but he just wants to win. He thinks him getting the ball helps us win. The other guys have so much respect for him because the way he prepares and goes about it, that it's hard to be like, why are you throwing, you can't really even say that. So that doesn't come up a lot. I think every guy that's, in our room wants to win first and foremost, but then they have their own goals and agendas too. We have some guys are free agents, they want to get the ball too and catch. So sometimes the coverage goes their way and sometimes it doesn't, but I think if you watch the tape, I always evaluate, did you win your one-on-one? Were you open or not? Period. If you didn't get the ball, there's nothing you can do about it, So our guys have pretty good body language. I know maybe after the game, maybe a guy says, man, I just need to get another op. I'm not saying that hasn't come up, but for the most part, our guys are all good guys and team first, and they bought into that. And typically when you're winning, the ball is spread around enough and good things happen.
He joked the other day that he resurrected the other night. In all seriousness, were you shocked to see him come back on the field after one play after that?
Yeah, when I saw the hit, and I'm like, oh, no. Kind of heart drops and, you lose, a great player on your team. So we kind of were out there, and I saw him moving around, it made me feel good. And then it was about 10 minutes. It went by, and then we're on the field. Well, the next play, Marquez gets hurt. So I'm like, Matt, Marquez is out. I'm like, ooh, we're down to 3, maybe 4 bodies that are healthy here in a game. So that was kind of more my thought process there. And then literally, I honestly, I think Matt said, Braves, I think Tay's going back in. I'm like, what? I didn't even know. He just started running onto the field. But that's who he is as a competitor. It's hard to keep that guy off the field, and I think they cleared him and did all this stuff, in the right protocols, and he didn't have a concussion. So he was ready to rock.
If you ever had a receiver who can go block a 220-pound, or not 220-pound, a 220-pound receiver block a Pro Bowl defensive end for a touchdown like Lazard did?
Tough to find in this league, man. First and foremost, you have to be unselfish, like you guys were kind of talking about. You have to be a team-first guy, because other people don't. They think they're above that. Maybe some teams are just receivers themselves of who some of these guys think. But you know, we were kind of talking about today, and I was like, man, you know, it was cool to, you know, see that. You know, we were talking about in the room, and he just smiled. Like, you know, with Allen, it's, you know, it's expected of him, you know, but at the same time, it's impressive, man. So, like, you know, I love the guy. I have since I got here, you know, and I knew there was something special about him. And like I said from the beginning, I mean, he's competitive, he's tough. There's very few teams, I think, that have that guy. You know, so we're blessed. You know, he's been everything we need for the last 2 years to help us, you know, in our record and win. So it's been awesome.